If I could give a piece of advice to anyone listening right now, always check what you receive, whether it's a birthday gift, a delivery, or even a fast food order. Check and make absolutely sure there's something inside the box. Shake it, smell it, or use an X-ray machine. Whatever method you prefer, just make sure there's actually something inside. Because, as it turns out, some gifts are not meant to be opened, and others should never be received. My birthday was last week. I had a wonderful surprise party thrown by my friends and family. I wasn't expecting anything when my friend Jack invited me to his house, claiming he'd bought a retro console. He said it was a relic from the 80s, and my curiosity got the better of me. So I went there. When I arrived, I was greeted by all my friends and family singing and wishing me well. The party was great. I celebrated, received lots of gifts, and then headed home. After the party, when I got home, I placed all the gifts I'd received by the entrance and went straight to bed. The next day, being a Sunday, I had plenty of time to check everything I'd gotten. Some of the boxes were still sealed, as I hadn't opened them at the party, and I decided to go through them. However, there was one box I didn't remember at all. I couldn't recall anyone giving it to me. It had no identifying marks and was wrapped in an eye-catching red and yellow paper. When I opened it, I was surprised to find nothing. The box was empty. I was confused. Was it a prank? A mistake? Or maybe someone too shy to admit I'd forgotten to buy something or couldn't afford a gift, and had tried to disguise it with an empty box. There was no way to answer these questions, so I just ignored it. The following day is when things started to get strange. The temperature in my house kept dropping, even though it was the peak of summer. My thermostat and the weather app on my phone showed everything as normal, but my body told me otherwise. The cold was tangible. Objects around the house felt frozen to the touch, as if they'd spent the night in a freezer. My toothbrush, the TV remote, even my right sneaker. That wasn't the worst of it. Some items actually froze solid for no apparent reason, turning into blocks of ice, often while I was holding them. Then, I noticed the box had returned. The same red and yellow box, sitting in the exact spot I had left it when I came back from the party. I was certain I had thrown away all the gift wrapping into the trash, and the garbage truck had already taken it away. There was no explanation. The box was just there again. I picked it up and made absolutely sure to put it outside. I stood there, watching as the garbage truck came and collected it. This time, I saw it with my own eyes. By now, I was terrified. Whatever this was, it was far too elaborate to be a prank. And then, the noises began. Random sounds around the house, especially footsteps. I heard laughter, whispers, and the sound of breaking dishes. But whenever I checked, there was nothing. Nights became cold and unsettling, as if all the happiness in the world had drained away. That night, I had the worst nightmare of my life. I can't remember anything about it, but I woke up trembling and drenched in sweat. I had vivid hallucinations when I awoke. Shadows and voices surrounded me, only to vanish moments later. The next day, everything got worse. I thought it couldn't, but it did. Right next to my bed, there was the box. The same red and yellow box from the previous days. By now, I was desperate. I had thrown it out twice already, and there it was again, mocking me. It was impossible. I had seen the garbage truck take it away. This time, I incinerated the box. There was no way it could come back. And if it was something cursed, surely fire would destroy it, right? That's how it works in the supernatural world, doesn't it? Fire purifies cursed objects. And for a while I was right. Or so I thought. The noises stopped, and the temperature returned to normal. But something far stranger was yet to come. My reflection disappeared, not just in mirrors but in windows, spoons, and anything that could reflect an image. It was as if I no longer existed. Then on my desk, there it was again. The box. That damned box. This time, it looked different. It wasn't as beautiful as it had been before. The once radiant yellow had turned into a dull gray, and the vibrant red was now a decaying blackish green, like the flesh of a long-dead corpse. What could I do? I felt nothing but fear and dread. I was desperate. I decided to call my friends to find out who had given me the box so I could put an end to it, but no one answered. Not a single person picked up their phone. I called every contact I had and they all ignored me. The line just rang and rang. Dropping the phone in despair, I noticed something else. It was still 7 a.m. I was sure I had spent hours making calls. Time had stopped. Every clock in the house had frozen. Panic consumed me. I needed help. I ran out of the house, screaming and begging for someone, anyone. But the streets were empty. The garbage truck that passed every morning, the children playing in the park, the neighbors walking their dogs, none of them were there. There was no one. I shouted throughout the neighborhood, knocked on every door, but no one came. I was alone. My workplace was my last hope. The city was eerily empty, but I went anyway. When I arrived, there it was again, the box. I was certain it was watching me. I know it doesn't have eyes, but I felt its gaze. The box was darker and colder than ever before. Ignoring it, I went to my office. As expected, no one was there, but in the window's reflection, I saw something. Myself, but not me. It's hard to explain. It was like I was seeing another building identical to mine, and inside, I was there, smiling with my coworkers as if it were a normal day. I could see myself talking to Jack, my friend. My boss was shaking my hand. In the box, it was there too on my desk. But this wasn't the same decaying box that haunted me. It was the original red and yellow box from the first day. No one seemed to notice it, as if it were invisible or non-existent. Then my reflection, my other self, looked directly at me. He smiled, a confident, knowing grin. Now every day, I return to my workplace to look at my old life through the window. It's the only time I feel alive. I don't even go home anymore. I just sit there, watching my perfect life on the other side. But today, something changed. Beside the original box, there's a second, identical one. Both sit on my other self's desk, radiating that sickly glow no one else seems to notice. Then, I see it. My other self is talking to Jack. He's holding one of the boxes, smiling as he hands it to him. I want to scream, to run, to warn him. But the void around me is absolute. My words die before they're even formed. All I can do is watch as Jack accepts the box with a smile, unaware of what's to come. I don't know if he'll end up here with me, trapped in this frozen, empty existence. But I know with a cold and unyielding certainty that he won't escape. Thank you for watching. Subscribe for more.